Restaurant Radio.
Welcome back to Flavor HD with Dane Neal and Hannah Stanley.
From Chicago, heard on great affiliates all around the country, worldwide, on the internet, Restaurant Radio with Dane Neal, Hannah Stanley, Flavor HD, and Twitter at Restaurant Radio as well. On the line with us now, we've got a comedy legend, a movie star, and the man behind one of the absolute coolest brands in the spirit world. It's Crystal Head Vodka's Dan Aykroyd. Dan, welcome to the show.
How you doing?
Now, Dan, there's a lot of celebrities that get involved, and they either put their name to a product or they've got either a line of food or a line of beverages or a restaurant or something like that. But with vodka, this specific one in particular, it goes a lot deeper with you.
Well, yeah, I wanted to I was tired of opening vodka bottles, a lot of popular brands. I never name names, but many popular brands. And you open them up and they have a kind of a perfumey smell to them. That's because they've added oils to produce a viscous, satiny upfront in the mouthfeel. But that always felt fake to me. And I wanted to get back to kind of making the kind of screwdrivers I had in college, where you had the alcohol kind of creep up above the citrus or above the cranberry or above whatever mix you're using. So we decided with Crystal Head Vodka to strip out all of the oils commonly used in vodka production. And they are glycol, citrus oil, and raw sugar. You don't need any more sugar in alcohol. Citrus oil in its raw form is a bug exterminant and a caustic cleanser, and glycol is essentially antifreeze. So we removed all of these, and we have won the double gold medal at the World Spirits Competition in 2011. Over 30 judges tasted 200 white spirits, and they voted us unanimously among the best. And so we've really hit on something here. People want a good, cleaned-up taste, and I achieved what I wanted for myself, to be able to have a clean slate to make a cocktail. Now, mixologists love Crystal Head because it is the virgin slate. It's the clean, blank canvas on which to start your mixing. You're going to be adding Clamato, Red Bull, orange juice, Palm, whatever you're adding to your drinks, and they are made with, well, they have additives in them. They have flavors in them, and these flavors do come with impurities. Crystal Head has no impurities at all, so you're starting with a completely pure substance when you start to make a cocktail, and that's what I set out to do.
You couldn't be more right as far as the mixologists. They love the canvas with which to work with. So that's great, but it's one thing to wake up and decide, hey, I want to revisit some past vodka memories and some great stuff, and there's a lot of education that goes along with this. Like, at what point did you realize you were going to have to go ahead and learn a lot about the process, and how did that happen?
Well, I've been a licensed purveyor. You could call me a publican, I suppose, with House of Blues. So I was meeting a lot of suppliers when we started our House of Blues company, and as you know, we have 13 venues across the nation. It's owned now by the huge concert company Live Nation. But we have our Louisiana cuisine. Nobody does it better than our Porch restaurants. We also have a 5-star private dining facility in our foundation room, which is member-supported and also by clients around the country. So I was really into more selling spirits, purveying spirits. Learned a lot from the people at Patron when we were selling the Patron beverage there early on in its inception. And then I began to work importing Patron into Canada and learned a lot more then, and got in with a distributor there, bought a piece of the distributorship so I could learn even more about the business. And it was only really when I connected with the distillery in Newfoundland that makes our vodka that I began to learn about the process of how vodka is made, and that there are some choices one can take in manufacture which clean up the substance. And so that's what we did. So essentially my learning process began when we went to the government still in Newfoundland, the last state-owned still in the world, and contracted with them to do the vodka. And they were fairly incredulous when I said I wanted to remove the oils. I said, well, people like that oily feel, that smoothness. And I said, well, I think we can achieve it naturally. So went and we did the removal of the oils, and the Bartenders Guild of San Francisco said, how can this be so smooth without the oils? We don't understand. And I said, well, run it through a spectrograph. The oils aren't there, and so they voted us, for natural smoothness. They voted us the best for natural smoothness.
Well, big congratulations, of course, on the accolades and the kudos. When you sat down with the distillers who had been doing it for a long time, and you told them what you'd like to do, were they excited to be a part of the project? You said at first they were a little questionable as far as if it was the right thing to do or if it could be done. But once they got on board, were they excited to be a part of something completely different?
They were excited to see the package. They were excited to see the artist-designed bottle by John Alexander, which is based upon the Mitchell Hedges skull, one of the 13 crystal heads that were found around the world. 8 are in the possession of mankind, 5 are missing. The whole lesson and sort of, I guess you could say, the message of the Crystal Heads is about positive empowerment, enlightenment, good feelings. The Navajo, the Mayans, the Aztec had them to look into the future, to make sure the tribe was headed in the right way. And so the people at the distillery got the package right away, and when we said we wanted to do a pure spirit, they said, okay, well, most vodkas have, a little citrus oil in there. You're making a martini. You don't really want citrus in there. If you're making a martini, you're going to be using vermouth, you're going to be using olive juice. Why would you want added orange flavor in there? And they said, well, this is what we do. And I said, well, we're going to strip those oils out. And we did it, and, we're vindicated by the metal. And once the production started to ramp up and we began to really sell bottles, of course their enthusiasm was there in the beginning, but as sales increase,
right.
The enthusiasm increases as well. Now we have 35 people working on the line, which is, to me, in this age right now of marginalized consumer, I'm so happy that I can create these jobs and provide good livings for the people there.
It's one thing as far as the process and the product within it, that obviously is different, but what you've done, and you're a great ambassador for it, and you're getting out there and kind of leading the way. But you got to think, even in the short history of Crystal Head, I mean, it is one of the iconic packages in the spirit world. Did you know that it was going to have that kind of impact where people are going to identify so quickly with it?
We knew people would get it, yeah, because of the way we designed it. We call it a head. It's not a symbol of death. It's a symbol of life to us. It reminisces the afterlife. It's a grinning skull, not a grimacing skull. So it's the common thing that we all have. It's a common touch to humanity. We kind of knew, because of how beautiful it is, that people would respond to the bottle. Then the trick was putting the right fluid in it. And what could you put in? A beautiful white platinum bottle, clear, beautiful bottle like that. What you had to put clean stuff in there. So that was a big determinant, was picking the right bottle and putting the right fluid in it.
Now, of course, it's kosher certified. People need to know that. Hand bottled. You mentioned just a handful of people working in a remote location. How important was that for you as far as picking? I know you wanted to be close to where you live, obviously up in Canada, and you knew the water would be great there. But as the success of the brand, have people come to you and say, like, well, we could put another distillery here or here, and have you had to resist that?
Well, we're not at that point, and I mean, there is a possibility we may have to do that someday, but certainly we're going to go where the water is cleanest and sweetest, and that's why we're in Newfoundland. Newfoundland is not particularly close to my home in Ontario, and it's quite far away, in fact,
right.
But the distillery in St. John's is right there in the city. St. John's is a very sophisticated harbor port with Centennial College and other good schools there. It's Newfoundland is a booming economy now due to natural gas finds and resources, and it's not actually so remote. But I mean, it's not actually close to where I am. It's kind of remote. But the reason we went there in the beginning is because of that glacial aquifer water. This is the water that was in the glaciers sitting on the planet 16,000 years ago, that melted 800 feet above the surface, went into the porous rock that Newfoundland is, and went down into the ponds and down into the wells. And it's never been touched by the eerie plume of pollution since 1900. We've had, coal, coke, the furnaces that produced all the steel, and the iron ore for American industrial growth. There was a huge plume of pollution that killed all the lakes in upstate New York for a while, and then even in Quebec and some in Ontario, you couldn't fish there for years. Now, that pollution never touched Newfoundland because Newfoundland is far away out there, 1,000 miles from the Erie plume, and all of that pollution kind of went under the province. So there never really has been significant acid rain or these kind of black particulates that fall from a polluted rain that you get. And so the water has remained just sweet and pure. And then, of course, in the distillation process, all the impurities are taken out, right. And then we have a filtration through charcoal, and then we pour them over the semi-precious crystals, the Herkimer diamonds.
Right, that is very cool. The story of how it gets done is pretty interesting as well. Now you gotta remember, you gotta go back in time. You gotta think part of the reason for you starting the company and creating the vodka was kind of selfish. You wanted to be able to enjoy it. So what, when you sit back, at the end of a day or the beginning of a day, really, what's your favorite way to enjoy Crystal Head?
Well, I'm liking these skinny cocktails right now. You just take, for instance, 1.5 ounces of Crystal Head, and then you crush some strawberries or blueberries in there with a little soda. That's just delicious, and that's, under 100 calories. I do personally like a standard screwdriver, but I use superior citrus when I make it. I use clementines, tangerines, tangelos, blood oranges, and I take 1.5 ounces in a rock glass, and I pour it in there, and then I slowly infuse the juice, almost like it should look like an egg yolk is cracking in there, so that it really gets infused right through the bottom of the alcohol and then comes right up. And then I put a slice of lime on there, and I like that. I call that my crystal driver. Also like to just drink it as a straight, a martini shaker with chips of ice and just poured straight. It's delicious.
Well, with the holidays coming up, people are going to be able to have that extra incentive outside of all the other ones to get themselves some Crystal Head Vodka. And you've got the glasses that go along with it. So you've got the iconic bottle, but then you also have the glasses. Talk a little bit about the holiday gift packages available.
Well, we have the line now consists of our 1.75, the big party head, and then there's the 750. Then we have our 50 mLs, the little heads. They're beautiful. And then we have our value-added packs, which are gift packages containing either a martini glass or 2 shot glasses. Now, people love this product at Halloween, of course, but they also love this product at Christmas because it makes such a great gift. It's the package, and then you're giving something that has an award-winning fluid in it. So we're finding that we have 2 spikes in sales during the year. One of them is at Halloween, and one of them is at Christmas, and that's because of the gift-giving, the joy of the product.
The passion that you have for the product, it's something that you're definitely behind. It isn't just another a marketing endeavor or anything. I mean, this is your thing. You're in and part of every bit of it. Do you think if you didn't have the success or the career as an actor, I know that it's going to help push things as far as at least introducing it to people, but do you think if you weren't a famous comedian and movie star that you'd be doing this?
No, sir. No, absolutely not. I would be driving a P-71 locomotive for Amtrak, no doubt about it.
Is that for your love of the locomotive?
That's my dream job right there, and I would want to be on the coastal run in California, up from L.A. up to Seattle and back, and that's definitely what I would be doing for a living. I'd be driving a train, no doubt about it.
You still have that option. You could make one of those career shifts so many Americans have.
Well, it gets difficult as one gets older, but I'm happy doing this. First of all, the on-premise bar operator, restaurant operator, and the retailer in the stores, they know more than anybody in this business. They know more than the manufacturer, the supplier, the distiller, the distributor, the importer. It's these people who are on the front line. So every day I'm learning something new from a retailer or a bar owner about how to get the product out and get the people more aware about it and get them to try it. That is a wonderful learning process.
Well, the bartenders and the bar owners, they certainly know all about it. They're great advocates for Crystal Head. For those people that want to learn more, do you have a website that they can go to?
Yes, indeed. World Wide Web, crystalheadvodka.com, and of course the product is on Facebook and all of the electronic outlets. The thing that mainly to know about it is that the package is beautiful. It's something to step up to if you want to treat yourself. It's a premium product, but the fluid really is in the bottle. It's not just a unique package. We really do have that gold medal now, and we've got a fluid that people like, and they're enjoying the cleaned-up taste.
Yeah, beautiful inside and out. It is Crystal Head Vodka, and the man behind so much of it is Dan Aykroyd. Dan, can't thank you enough for being in Restaurant Radio.
Oh, thank you so much. I'm in your business. We've got the 13 venues. I'm still a consultant at House of Blues, and I encourage people around the country as we get to the holidays to try our Louisiana cuisine and come in and see our shows. We have I think we've got the hippest entertainment venues in the country, and they're just going strong. We have a whole revival of interest from managers and staff now that was kind of lacking over the last couple of years, and we're back on top, doing the best we can to bring Louisiana cuisine to the people where it's not usually regionally located.
Is that a passion for you too? Is the Cajun cuisine, Louisiana cuisine? Is that one of your favorites?
It was just when we started House of Blues, it was just the right way to go, because it's southern, it's typical of that region of the country that you don't see anyplace else. And I love New Orleans, of course, and I love Louisiana. I love the Caribbean, and we try to get all of that, that's sort of spice, if you will, and variety in the cooking in our porch restaurants, and we're doing a great job with it.
Enjoying the best of all worlds here. Dan Aykroyd, again, can't thank you enough for being in Restaurant Radio.
Thank you so much. Hey, this is Dan Aykroyd with Crystal Head Vodka, and you are listening to Restaurant Radio America. Listen up.
Restaurant Radio.